introduction video for the George Brown Video Production and Design program. Briefly before I get into my favorite movie, I just wanted to give a brief introduction about myself. I'm currently 23 years old, and in October of 2022, I graduated from Queen's University with a medial degree, a Bachelor of Arts honors in film and philosophy. I would happily spend my lunch times in high school, for example, editing videos in the media room and everything. So it's just always been something that I have gravitated towards, and I've always loved filming and editing and photography and basically everything surrounding the field. That's why I'm so excited to be applying for this program, because after graduating from Queen's and having some time to reflect on everything, I finally realized this is what I actually want to do with my life. I really want to create good quality video and film. And while I definitely do feel that, of course, I learned and gained a lot from Queen's, I do feel that I was lacking on some of the hands-on experience I could have gotten had I gone somewhere more like George Brown, where the priority is hands-on experience. Obviously, it's really hard to narrow this down. There are so many infinite films and TV shows that I could talk about for this part of the video, but the first one that came to mind was the 2016 film by Barry Jenkins called Moonlight. And there are so many things I love about this film and that I think were so well done, and I could just go on and on about it, but just to briefly point out a few factors for why I love the film so much. First of all is simply the art house aesthetics of it. The rawness and authenticity really make you, as the audience, feel the emotions that the character is feeling. I think the film does this so well for a variety of reasons. For example, the use of colors to symbolize the emotions that any given characters are feeling at any given moment, I think is really powerful. We see specifically the colors blue and pink repeated over and over again throughout the film, and I think this can be interpreted in multiple ways. One way that I see is blueness, of course, as the color of sadness, and Chiron's character really has this fundamental level of sadness, I think, because he isn't really allowed to express who he authentically is for a large portion of his life, and I think that in part is why we see blue surrounding him so much, as well as the obvious connection with this idea of masculinity. That is the most blatant theme in the film, is Chiron's struggle with his masculinity and sexuality, and coming to terms with how he can be a gay man and yet still fit in with his masculinity, especially in this hyper-masculinized Black community that he was raised in. And I think the way the film navigates around this is just really beautiful. Along with the use of colors, the film, I think, is also really effective at conveying certain messages through the framing techniques it uses, and also through the breaking of the fourth wall specifically. This is something we already don't see happen very much in films, so when it is used as a device, I find it really powerful, and especially in the pivotal scene that it's used in this film. It's the day after Chiron and Kevin have realized that they may have some level of feelings for each other, and yet they still can't really admit to each other, let alone to other people, that they are struggling with their sexuality and that they might have feelings for another man. So following that night, we have this fight happen where it's in direct contrast to that beautiful scene, and the next day we see Kevin and Chiron in confrontation with each other, and this is seen in multiple ways as well. It's a confrontation, of course, between Kevin and Chiron, but it's also a confrontation for both of them of their masculinity and sexuality. And all of these messages at once, I think, are conveyed really well in this scene, because we have Kevin and Chiron both looking directly into the camera during this scene, so it's a very visceral moment where you're feeling the emotions of both characters kind of simultaneously, and it's just simply very, very powerful. And I think the film using these techniques is part of what makes it feel so raw and authentic, and what makes it such a powerful film, and why it won Best Picture, of course. And just to end this segment with a quote by Bell Hooks, she says that patriarchal masculinity has taught us that as a man it is better to be feared than to be loved. And that fundamentally, I think, describes what Chiron struggles with throughout the film, and it's beautiful as we see his character kind of ebb and flow with his masculinity and sexuality, and towards the end we can see him beginning to open up. The short film that I've submitted for this application is called Overwhelm, and as the title suggests, it's a short film pretty much just intended to embody the visceral feeling of what it feels like to be overwhelmed. This is something that I have struggled with throughout my life and continue to work on, and something that I know a lot of people struggle with, and I just felt like it would be a fun challenge for me to try to kind of embody that feeling within a film. I did all the scripting, directing, filming, editing, and audio, and color correcting, and everything for this film, and I had the gracious help of my friends to act in the film, so that's how it came to be, and it was a very fun experience. As I briefly mentioned at the beginning of this video, one of my main goals is simply that I want to get more hands-on technical experience. While I understand the basics, I really want to expand and get to the industry standards of video production. Secondly, the idea of being around like-minded people is simply a very exciting idea to me. Just to make friends who also have an interest in the same things that I have an interest in, as well as to gain knowledge from people who are already in the industry. It's just a really exciting idea to be surrounded by these people, and also to learn how to collaborate more with people and kind of test out the different roles throughout video production, whether that be directing, scripting, things that maybe I don't have as much experience with. Overall, my goal of applying to George Brown is simply that I want to be able to up my skills in video production so that I can use the medium to convey messages more powerfully. Whether that be in advertising, in actual filmmaking, whatever it may be, I just think it would be a really helpful tool to have, and it's something that I already love to do, so to expand my skills in it would be a wonderful experience. That's everything for my introduction video. Thank you very much for your consideration, and I look forward to seeing you on campus.